965 millibars, that's the forecast central pressure for the low, that S, about to develop off the Carolina coast Sunday morning, and if you don't know what that means, let me put it in perspective. That's the equivalent of a Category 3 hurricane in terms of pressure, except this is happening in January with snow instead of rain. The western side of that circulation is where the snow falls, and right now your city might be directly in the path. The question isn't whether we are getting a major storm anymore. The question is exactly where the axis of heaviest snow sets up, and I am seeing model signals today that have me genuinely concerned for areas that thought they might escape this. I am going to show you exactly what has changed in the last 12 hours, why certain cities need to prepare for potentially historic snow, and why everyone from Atlanta to Bangor needs to brace for cold that we rarely see outside of the Arctic. But first, I need you to comment your location. Tomorrow's forecast is going to be personalized for every city you mention, and based on what I am seeing, you cannot afford to miss that update. Let me give you the critical information right now for major metros. Atlanta, you are on the southern and western fringe, but you could still see 1 to 3 inches Saturday, which is enough to shut your city down. Columbia, South Carolina, we're talking about potential snow totals of 10 to 18 inches starting Friday night. Charleston, 12 to 20 inches, and that would be absolutely catastrophic for your infrastructure. Wilmington, North Carolina, 10 to 16 inches Saturday into Sunday. Fayetteville, 12 to 18. Greensboro, 16 to 24 inches. Yes, you heard that right. Charlotte, 14 to 20. Raleigh, this is where the models are converging on something truly exceptional. 20 to 30 inches is now within the realm of possibility. Virginia Beach, 14 to 22 inches. Norfolk, similar range. Richmond, 12 to 20 inches, depending on exact track. It's Thursday, January 29th, and I am looking at model runs that came in this morning that have frankly shocked me. Not because they are showing a big storm, we knew that was coming, but because of how consistent they are in showing extreme snow totals for areas that haven't seen anything like this in decades. The European model, the GFS, the Canadian model, they all clustering around very similar solutions now. When models converge like this, 48 hours before an event, that S when you need to pay attention. Here what S happening in the atmosphere. There is a piece of energy diving south through the central plains right now. It is going to sweep across the Ohio Valley tonight and tomorrow, bringing some light snow to areas from St. Louis through Louisville and Cincinnati. Nothing major from that part of the system. But meanwhile, there is a very impressive area of moisture and energy in the Gulf of Mexico. I am talking about precipitable water values that are unusually high for late January. This Gulf system is going to track northeast Friday and Friday night into Saturday morning. It's going to meet up with that northern energy off the Carolina coast. And when they phase together, we're looking at a textbook setup for explosive cyclogenesis. The term bomb cyclone gets thrown around a lot, sometimes inappropriately. But this storm absolutely qualifies. We are looking at central pressure dropping from around 1,000 millibars Friday evening to potentially 965 millibars by Sunday morning. That's a 35 millibar drop in 36 hours. The meteorological definition of a bomb cyclone is a pressure drop of 24 millibars in 24 hours. This is going to exceed that threshold significantly. What this means in practical terms is extreme dynamics. Heavy snow rates, high winds, rapid changes in conditions. This is not going to be a gentle snowstorm that gradually builds. This is going to intensify rapidly and hit hard. Now let us talk about the track because this is what determines everything. Yesterday I told you the models were trending westward. Today they've trended even further west. The European model now has the center of low pressure tracking much closer to the coast than it did earlier in the week. Instead of staying 100 to 200 miles offshore, it's now showing a track that brings it within 50 miles of the Outer Banks. That difference is enormous. That as the difference between a fish storm and a storm that absolutely buries the mid-Atlantic. The GFS model has also made a similar adjustment. It is not quite as close to the coast as the European, but it's much closer than it was on Monday or Tuesday. The Canadian model is actually the closest to the coast of the major global models right now. When you blend all the models together, the consensus track has shifted significantly westward over the past 72 hours. What does this mean for snow totals? It means we need to dramatically upgrade expectations for a lot of areas. Let me start in North Carolina because that S where the jackpot is setting up. The entire central and eastern part of the state is in the bullseye. Raleigh, Durham, Cary, Chapel Hill, Wake Forest, you're all looking at potential snow totals that I almost don't want to say out loud because they sound so extreme. But the models are consistent, 20 to 30 inches. Some high-resolution models are showing localized amounts over 30 inches. That would be the snowstorm of the century for the Triangle. Nothing in living memory would compare to this. Greensboro is in a similar situation, 16 to 24 inches with some models pushing higher. Winston-Salem, 14 to 22. High Point, similar. Charlotte, the largest city in the Carolinas, is looking at 14 to 20 inches. That would completely paralyze Charlotte. The last time they saw anything close to this was, 2000? This would be worse. Fayetteville, 12 to 18 inches. Wilmington, 10 to 16. Greenville, North Carolina, 14 to 20. Rocky Mount, 16 to 22. Wilson, similar. Jacksonville, North Carolina, near Camp Lejeune, 8 to 14 inches. Even the Outer Banks are looking at significant snow, potentially 6 to 12 inches, which combined with the wind and coastal flooding creates a really dangerous situation. South Carolina, the impacts extend well into your state. Charleston, we were talking about 12 to 20 inches. Let me repeat that. Charleston, South Carolina could see up to 20 inches of snow. Your city shuts down when you get an inch. This would be absolutely unprecedented. Everything stops. The bridges become impassable. The historic district would be buried. This is major disaster territory for Charleston. Columbia, 10 to 18 inches. Greenville, 8 to 14. Spartanburg, 10 to 16. Myrtle Beach, 8 to 14. Florence, 12 to 18. Sumter, 14 to 20. Even areas further inland like Rock Hill are looking at 10 to 16 inches. Georgia, you are mostly on the fringe of this, but you are not completely escaping. Savannah, 4 to 8 inches, which would still be highly disruptive for you. Augusta, 6 to 10 inches. Athens, 4 to 8. Atlanta Metro, 1 to 4 inches, but that is still enough to create problems. It doesn't take much in Atlanta to shut things down. Virginia, this is where it gets interesting because the western trend in the models has brought Virginia squarely into the danger zone. Virginia Beach and Norfolk, 14 to 22 inches. That would be historic for Hampton roads. The last time you saw totals like that was probably never in most people's lifetimes. Portsmouth, Chesapeake, Newport News, Suffolk, you are all in the same range. Richmond, the state capital, is looking at 12 to 20 inches. That western trend has been really significant for Richmond. Earlier in the week, you were on the edge. Now you are more toward the center of the action. Charlottesville, 10 to 16 inches. Fredericksburg, 12 to 18. Lynchburg, 8 to 14. Roanoke, 6 to 12. Northern Virginia, every jurisdiction in the D.C. suburbs is looking at major snow. Fairfax County, 10 to 18 inches. Loudoun County, 12 to 20. Prince William County, 10 to 18. Arlington, 12 to 18. Alexandria, 12 to 18. Falls Church, similar. Tyson's Corner, similar. Manassas, potentially 12 to 20 inches. This is crippling snow for Northern Virginia. The Beltway is going to be a parking lot. Route 66 is going to be impassable. The dullest toll road, forget about it. Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, is now looking at 12 to 18 inches. That S up significantly from earlier forecasts. If this verifies, the federal government will be shut down. The metro system will struggle. The airports will close. This is major winter storm territory for D.C. And here's the thing about D.C. The city doesn't handle snow particularly well, even in moderate events. A foot to a foot and a half, that's going to take days to recover from. Maryland, the entire state is in the impact zone. Baltimore, 12 to 18 inches. That S, massive for Baltimore. Annapolis, 10 to 16. The Eastern Shore, Salisbury, Ocean City, Cambridge, you were looking at 8 to 14 inches. Frederick, 10 to 16. Hagerstown, 8 to 14. Southern Maryland, Calvert, Charles, and St. Mary's counties, 12 to 18 inches. The Chesapeake Bay Bridge is going to be a nightmare during this storm. Delaware, the entire first state is getting hit. Wilmington, 10 to 16 inches. Dover, 8 to 14. Rehoboth Beach, Bethany Beach, Lewis, 6 to 12 inches. The rain-snow line that we were worried about earlier in the week looks like it's going to stay offshore, which means even coastal Delaware gets mostly snow. New Jersey, this is where the forecast gets really concerning. The western trend in the models has brought New Jersey more into play. Northern New Jersey, Newark, Jersey City, Paterson, Morristown, you are looking at 12 to 20 inches. That's legitimately major snow. Central Jersey, Trenton, Princeton, New Brunswick, 10 to 18 inches. The shore is still the tricky area. Atlantic City, Ocean City, Point Pleasant, you could see anywhere from 6 to 14 inches depending on exactly where the rain-snow line sets up. But even if you see more rain initially, the changeover to heavy snow is likely, and you could still end up with impressive totals. Pennsylvania, Philadelphia is looking at 10 to 18 inches. That is a significant winter storm for Philly. The suburbs, King of Prussia, the Main Line, similar totals. Allentown and the Lehigh Valley, 12 to 20 inches. Reading, 10 to 16. Lancaster, 8 to 14. York, similar. Harrisburg, 10 to 16 inches for the state capital. Scranton and Wilkes-Barre in northeastern PA, 14 to 22 inches. The Poconos at elevation could see some of the highest totals in Pennsylvania, potentially 20 to 30 inches. Now let's talk about New York, and this is where today's forecast update really matters. New York City, all 5 boroughs, Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, Staten Island, you're looking at 12 to 20 inches. That's right up there with some of the biggest snowstorms in modern New York City history. This would be absolutely massive for the city. The subway system is going to struggle, the airports are shutting down. Every bridge and tunnel is going to be a disaster. If you have plans in New York City Sunday or Monday, cancel them now. Long Island, Nassau County, 12 to 20 inches. Suffolk County, as you go further east, totals increase. Islip, Brookhaven, Riverhead, potentially 16 to 24 inches. The Hamptons could see some of the highest totals on Long Island, potentially 20 to 30 inches. You're going to be right on the northern edge of that heavy deformation band. Westchester County, White Plains, Yonkers, New Rochelle, 12 to 20 inches. Rockland County, similar. The Hudson Valley, Poughkeepsie, Newburgh, Beacon, 10 to 18 inches. Albany and the Capital Region, 10 to 18 inches. Syracuse, 12 to 20 inches from the main storm. Then you're going to get additional lake effect. Rochester, 10 to 18, then lake effect. Buffalo, 8 to 16 from the main system, then significant lake effect Monday into Tuesday, potentially adding another 12 to 20 inches. Connecticut, the entire state is in the impact zone. Southwestern Connecticut, Greenwich, Stamford, Norwalk, 12 to 20 inches. Bridgeport, 12 to 18. New Haven, 12 to 20. Hartford, the capital, is looking at 12 to 20 inches. Eastern Connecticut, New London, Groton, Norwich, 14 to 22. The northeastern corner of the state, the quiet corner, could see some of the highest totals, potentially 16 to 24 inches. Rhode Island, Providence is looking at 12 to 20 inches. Warwick, similar. Newport, 10 to 18. Westerly, potentially 12 to 20. This is major snow for Rhode Island. Massachusetts, let us start with the obvious. Boston, you already have over 2 feet of snow on the ground. You are about to add another 14 to 22 inches on top of that. We are talking about snow depths of 3.5 to 4.5 feet in some areas. This is becoming a serious structural concern for roofs. This is becoming a serious problem for snow removal because you simply don't have anywhere left to put it. Worcester, at elevation in central Mass, 14 to 24 inches. Springfield, 12 to 20. The Cape Cod, is going to start as rain, transition to heavy snow, and could end up with 8 to 16 inches depending on timing. Barnstable, Hyannis, Falmouth, you are all in that range. New Hampshire, Manchester is looking at 12 to 20 inches. Nashua, similar. Concord, 10 to 18. Portsmouth, 8 to 16 because you are closer to the coast. The White Mountains are going to get absolutely buried, potentially 20 to 36 inches at elevation. If you are a skier, next week is going to be incredible. If you are anything else, it's going to be challenging. Vermont, Burlington is on the western edge, 8 to 14 inches. Montpelier, 10 to 16. Rutland, 8 to 14. The Green Mountains at elevation could see higher amounts, potentially 12 to 20 inches. Maine, you are on the northern fringe of this system, but you are still getting significant snow. Portland, 12 to 18 inches starting Sunday into Monday. Bangor, 10 to 16. Augusta, 10 to 16. The Mid-Coast region, 8 to 14. The western mountains of Maine could see higher totals, potentially 14 to 20 inches. Now let's talk about the wind, because this is a critical part of the forecast that hasn't gotten enough attention. With a storm this intense, wind speeds are going to be extreme. Along the coast, we are looking at sustained winds of 40 to 50 miles per hour with gusts to 70 or even 80 miles per hour. That S strong enough to cause widespread power outages. That S strong enough to bring down trees and power lines even without the snow load. When you add heavy snow on top of those winds, you are looking at near blizzard or even blizzard conditions. Blizzard warnings will likely be issued for parts of this region. The criteria for a blizzard warning is sustained winds of 35 miles per hour with falling or blowing snow that reduces visibility to a quarter mile or less for at least 3 hours. We are going to meet those criteria in multiple locations. This isn't just a snowstorm. This is going to be a blizzard for some areas. The wind is also going to create massive drifting. Snow that might fall evenly initially is going to be redistributed by the wind. You might have 2 feet of snow in your yard, but 4 feet in your driveway where it drifted. Roads that get plowed are going to drift shut again. This is going to make snow removal extremely challenging, even for the best equipped municipalities. For coastal areas, the wind is going to drive storm surge and coastal flooding. The Outer Banks, you are looking at significant coastal flooding Saturday night into Sunday. Water could be pushed several feet above normal high tide. Oceanfront properties are at risk. Coastal roads will be flooded. The Virginia coast, similar situation. Delaware beaches, same thing. The Jersey Shore, particularly southern Jersey, you're going to see coastal flooding. This is a multifaceted threat for coastal communities. Now let's talk about the cold, because what comes after this storm is in some ways more concerning than the storm itself. Sunday night into Monday, an Arctic blast is going to sweep across the entire eastern half of the country. I am talking about temperatures that could set records in some locations. Monday morning lows could be the coldest we've seen in 5 to 10 years for many areas. Let me walk you through this region by region, starting in Florida because they are not used to this at all. Miami, Monday morning, low of 34 degrees. Fort Lauderdale, 33. West Palm Beach, 31. These are potentially record-breaking cold temperatures for late January in South Florida. The interior of South Florida could see widespread freezing. Lake Okeechobee, the Everglades, these areas could drop to 30 or below. Orlando, 27 degrees. That S hard freeze territory. Pipes are going to burst. Plants are going to die. Tampa, 29. Lakeland, 26. Daytona Beach, 28. Jacksonville, 24 degrees. Tallahassee, 20. Pensacola, 26. Gainesville, 22. This is dangerous cold for a state that S not built for it. Georgia, Savannah is looking at 22 degrees Monday morning. Brunswick, 24. Valdosta, 26. Macon, 20. Augusta, 18. Athens, 16. Atlanta, 18 degrees with wind chills in the single digits. Albany, Georgia, 24. Columbus, 22. South Carolina, brutal cold following what could be record snow. Charleston, 19 degrees. Your pipes are going to freeze. Your infrastructure is going to struggle. Columbia, 16. Greenville, 14. Spartanburg, 12. Myrtle Beach, 21. Florence, 18. North Carolina, whatever snow falls this weekend is not melting anytime soon. Wilmington, 20 degrees. The entire triangle, Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, 14 degrees. Greensboro, 12. Winston-Salem, 11. Charlotte, 13. Asheville, 10 degrees. Fayetteville, 16. Virginia, statewide deep freeze. Virginia Beach, 18 degrees. Norfolk, 18. Richmond, 14. Charlottesville, 12. Roanoke, 10. Lynchburg, 11. Northern Virginia, Arlington and Fairfax, 12 degrees. Manassas, 10. Washington, D.C., 11 degrees Monday morning with wind chills near zero. Maryland, Baltimore is looking at 12 degrees. Ocean City, 16. Frederick, 10. Delaware, Wilmington at 13 degrees. Rehoboth Beach, 15. New Jersey, Newark at 11 degrees. Jersey City, 12. Trenton, 10. Atlantic City, 14. The interior, 8 to 10 degrees. Pennsylvania, Philadelphia at 10 degrees. Allentown, 8. Reading, 9. Harrisburg, 9. Scranton, 6. Pittsburgh, 4 degrees. Erie, 6. New York, Manhattan at 9 degrees. Brooklyn and Queens, similar. Long Island, 10 to 12. Albany, 4 degrees. Syracuse, 2. Rochester, 3. Buffalo, 4. Connecticut, Hartford at 7 degrees. New Haven, 8. Rhode Island, Providence at 8 degrees. Massachusetts, Boston at 6 degrees. Worcester, 4. Cape Cod, 8 to 10. New Hampshire, Manchester at 4 degrees. Concord, 2. Vermont, Burlington at 2 degrees. Montpelier, 0. Maine, Portland at 4 degrees. Bangor, 0. Northern Maine could see temperatures below 0. When you factor in wind chills, it's going to feel even colder. Wind chills Monday morning could be 10 to 20 below 0 for interior New England. 5 to 15 below for the mid-Atlantic. Even coastal areas could see wind chills near 0 or below. This cold is dangerous. Frostbite can occur on exposed skin in 15 to 30 minutes. Hypothermia is a real risk if you outside for extended periods. If you lose power during this, it becomes a life-threatening situation very quickly. You need to have a plan. Know where your warming centers are. Have alternative heat sources. Check on neighbors, especially elderly neighbors. The cold is also going to persist. This isn't a quick shot. Tuesday morning might be even colder than Monday. Wednesday doesn't look much warmer. We are looking at potentially a week of sustained below-freezing temperatures for the entire East Coast. For the South, that's extremely unusual. For the North, it's brutal but more typical, except for the duration. It is going to stay cold for a long time. Let me talk about the human toll of an event like this because it's easy to get caught up in the meteorology and forget about the real impacts. Power outages in extreme cold can be fatal. Every winter, people die from hypothermia in their own homes when they lose heat. Carbon monoxide poisoning from improper use of generators or alternative heat sources kills people every year. Traffic accidents during the storm are going to happen. People are going to have heart attacks shoveling heavy snow. This is not just an inconvenience. This is a dangerous situation. If you are in the impact zone, you need to prepare now. Food for several days. Water in case pipes freeze. Medications you need. Flashlights and batteries. A way to charge your phone. A battery-powered or hand-crank radio, blankets, warm clothing. If you have a fireplace, make sure you have wood. If you have a generator, make sure it works and you have fuel, but use it outside, away from windows and doors. For your car, make sure you have a full tank of gas before the storm. Have a snow brush and ice scraper. Have a small shovel. Have blankets and some snacks in case you get stranded. Don't travel during the storm unless absolutely necessary. If you must travel, tell someone your route and expected arrival time. For your home, bring any outdoor furniture inside or secure it. Clean out gutters if you haven't already. Know where your main water shutoff is in case pipes burst. If you have areas of your home that are prone to freezing, let faucets drip during the extreme cold. Open cabinet doors under sinks to let warm air circulate. If you have elderly neighbors or neighbors with disabilities, check on them. Make sure they have what they need. Offer to help if you can safely do so. This is community time. We need to look out for each other. For homeless populations, this cold is deadly. If you see someone outside, direct them to warming shelters. Most cities are opening extra capacity and extending hours. A phone call could save a life. Let me talk about the forecast confidence because I want to be honest with you about what we know and what we don't know. The overall pattern, the big storm followed by extreme cold, that's locked in. We were not going to wake up tomorrow and find out this isn't happening. It's happening. The intensity of the storm, we were very confident about that too. This is going to be a bomb cyclone. The pressure is going to drop rapidly. The dynamics are going to be extreme. What still has some uncertainty is the exact track, which determines the exact placement of the heaviest snow. The models have been trending westward for 3 days. That trend could continue, which would bring even more snow to the I-95 corridor. Or the trend could reverse, which would shift the heaviest snow back toward the coast. Based on model performance in recent storms, I am inclined to trust the European model, and it is showing a track close to the coast but not offshore. That supports the significant snow totals I've been talking about for the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. For tomorrow's update, I am going to be looking at the overnight model runs very carefully. The 0Z GFS and the 12Z European are going to be critical. If they continue showing a western track or trend even further west, we might need to upgrade snow totals even more. If they shift back east, we might need to scale back expectations for some areas. But right now, based on the trend and the model agreement, I am confident in the forecast I've laid out today. One thing I want to emphasize, don't focus too much on exact snow totals. Whether you get 18 inches or 22 inches doesn't really change how you prepare or how you respond. Both are crippling amounts. Both require the same level of preparation. Both are going to shut everything down. Focus on the big picture. Major storm, heavy snow, extreme cold, extended duration. That's what you need to know. The bottom line is this. The eastern United States is about to experience one of the most significant winter weather events in recent memory. A potentially historic snowstorm for the Carolinas and Mid-Atlantic, major snow for the Northeast, followed by dangerous cold for everyone from Florida to Maine. The time to prepare is now. The time to take this seriously is now. This is not hype. This is not media exaggeration. This is a legitimate major winter weather event, and you need to be ready. Thank you for watching. If this was helpful, please like and subscribe. Drop your city in the comments for tomorrow's personalized update. I'll see you tomorrow evening with the latest models and refined forecasts. Stay safe out there, take care of each other, and don